Wildcard weekend, my favorite picks are on the way. Today, we're going to talk about the 3 NFL Sunday games. We're talking about Dolphins versus Bills, Giants versus Vikings, and Ravens versus Bengals. I have 2 picks, a lean and a player prop parlay coming your guys' way. Of course, we're going to have a separate video for Monday Night Football for the Cowboys versus Buccaneers. You can check that video out. It'll be live Sunday evening. Either way, this is how our picks are doing so far in the year. Not too shabby. Could be better. Could be much worse. Let's end the season strong. If you are new, my name's Austin. Welcome to the community. We're trying to hit 70,000 subscribers. We're closing in on that mark. Go down below, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and let me know your favorite pick for Sunday's slate. This video is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog available in a large majority of the United States, and it's a great place to bet your player prop parlays. But the best part, as I've talked about before, if you sign up using our code COS or the link down below, you get a 100% deposit match up to $100. It's free money. Take advantage of that. You deposit $20. Now you got 40 to bet on. You deposit up to 100. Now you got 200 to bet on. So take advantage of that. My player prop parlay will be on Underdog Fantasy. We'll talk about that in a little bit. One of those legs, though, is going to be in the Giants-Vikings game, which we'll start with today. It's going to be Saquon Barkley. I like his over 99.5 rushing plus receiving yards, currently minus 114 on FanDuel. I'd probably play this up to 105.5, and I think if Saquon hits the over, he's probably going to go well over the over. Now, let's talk about Saquon, though. He had week 18 off, just like a large majority of his New York Giants. It's kind of mailed it in for that week. It didn't matter for their standings, and he's coming off 2 full weeks of rest, which should be big time for Saquon, who's playing in his first career playoff game. Now, should be ready to roll in this one, and you look, if you need an individual line, you're like, Austin, I don't have rushing plus receiving. I lean towards the receiving yards a little bit, but it could be rushing yards too. I think both are going to crush it. And you look at Saquon on the year, averaging 103 rushing plus receiving yards per game, scrimmage yards, if you will. He's over this line in 8 of 16. Now, he did have a rough stretch back in November where he went under in 4 straight games. That was 3 to divisional opponents, the other to the Detroit Lions. Now, all of those defenses, much better than the Vikings today that he will see. In their first matchup, which they played just a couple weeks back, Saquon, 84 rushing yards, 49 receiving yards, a solid 133 combined. And I take rushing plus receiving as a hedge kind of on the outcome of the game. I don't really love betting a ton of spreads in the NFL, although we've done really well this year. But if Saquon and the Giants are up in this game, they're obviously going to run it more with him. If they're trailing, Saquon's still going to be on the field. He's catching a lot more passes than you would maybe getting rushing yards, which is why I take rushing plus receiving. Now, the Giants, in my opinion, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to tell them this. They need to get Saquon the ball. I mean, if he touches the ball 20 or more times, which should be their game plan, they should have a much better chance at winning than if he's not touching the ball. He's obviously their best player, and they need to get him the rock. This season, when he has 20 or more touches, either a reception or just a rush attempt, Giants are 7-2-1 straight up. Obviously, he gets the ball. Good things happen. He's over this line, 100 plus scrimmage yards in 6 of those 10 games. He had several games where he got really close to the line, and I think he gets over the hump against a very easy matchup. The Vikings allow 123 rushing yards per game, the 13th most in the NFL. We just saw Aaron Jones run for 111 on him, and not only will the rushing yards be there for Saquon, he could break off a 65-yard run on any given snap, and that would basically almost hit this over. They also have really struggled in the secondary. The Vikings give up the 2nd most passing yards. We saw Daniel Jones and the Giants take advantage of that in their first matchup. Danny Dimes threw for 334 yards in that matchup. I think Minnesota makes some adjustments to try to help their secondary out. Maybe they play 2 high safeties and just say, you know what? Run the football. We'll live with it. We'll live with our defensive line trying to win against your offensive line. And I think we could see Saquon have a big day regardless, whether it's in the air or on the ground. First career playoff game, we're running with Saquon. He's going to be on the thumbnail. Give me his over, 99.5 rushing plus receiving yards. Now, let's move on to my favorite spread pick. I'll talk about the Bills and Dolphins game in a little bit. I'm going to go to Sunday Night Football for my favorite spread pick for Sunday. And I like the Ravens, plus 8.5, currently minus 105 on DraftKings. Now, this could go to 9.5. I don't really see a big difference. Knock on wood, between 8.5 and 9.5. Not many games. Like I said, knock on wood, end at 9 points on the dot. Now, before I hop into this, I want to make a very bold comment. So listen up. If there is a team to pull off an upset, a big upset, I think it is the Baltimore Ravens. I know, there goes 100 million comments on saying, Austin, you're an idiot. Bengals money line to the moon. And sure, you can bet the Bengals money line if you want. I only need them plus 8.5. I'm not sticking my reputation on the Ravens money line, but I think the Ravens sneakily have a chance to win this game. And here I'll understand why. I'll take plus an 8.5 for safety. Now, yes, Lamar Jackson's out. I'm well aware of that. For people saying, dude, you know Lamar Jackson's out? Yes, he's out. Tyler Huntley should go in there and start. And while Tyler Huntley had not been very good this year, there's no way I can't say Tyler Huntley's, been elite. Far from that. but I still think they got a chance in this one, and you'll see why. Now, they played just last week. The Ravens started Anthony Brown in that game, and they lost 27-16. Although in the second half, their defense and team as a whole played much better, actually outscoring the Bengals 9-3 over that time span. Really kind of clamped down on that offense of the Bengals they got, and the Ravens secondary and defense has played really well over the last 6 games, and they have the pass rush to not only make Joe Burrow a little bit, running around for his life, as he had a couple plays last week like that, but they can also disrupt the running game and really force this Bengals team into trying to pass the ball nonstop. And while the Bengals have a great passing offense, the Ravens secondary has played pretty well recently. And look, last week, the Ravens kind of mailed it in. They didn't even play J.K. Dobbins. He was rested. Gus Edwards played a little bit in that game, left due to injury. Don't think they really wanted to force him back out there, but they probably could have. And I just think they kind of mailed it in and said, you know what, we'll see you guys in the playoffs. And the Bengals were trying their hardest because they wanted to try to still go get that 1 or 2 seed in the conference. And ultimately, the Bengals, if you look at last year in the playoffs, they made that Super Bowl run. Props to them. I'm not a Bengals hater. Actually, I'd argue I probably hate the Ravens more than I don't like the Bengals kind of thing. I'd rather prefer the Bengals to win this one because I don't like seeing the Ravens that successful. But in the 3 games last year when the Ravens were winning, or when the Bengals were winning, getting to the Super Bowl, they won those games by 7, 3, and 3 points. It's not like they were blowing teams out. They had potential to lose all 3 of those games, whether it was against the Titans, Chiefs, or the Raiders in there. They could have lost all 3 of them. You look at Baltimore, 6-3-3 against the spread on the road this season. They've been a pretty good road team. I'm just saying, normally in the playoffs, the team with the better run game, rushing attack, usually wins. That's how you win these games. Probably cold weather. I didn't really look a ton into the weather. I think it's going to be like 30 or 40 degrees. But I'm just saying, a low over-under at 40.5, so they're not expecting a lot of points. I'd much rather take the plus 8.5 than trying to lay points, minus 8.5. I think the Ravens got a chance. I'm not saying they're going to win, although I wouldn't be surprised if they win. I just don't think there's a lot of value taking the juiced Bengals money line. I like the Ravens here. Give me them plus 8.5. I'll take them as my favorite spread pick for Sunday. I know a lot of people probably already clicked off. They think, this guy thinks the Ravens can win. Get out of here. I understand. I'm just saying. If it happens, I look like a genius. If they get smoked, it wasn't me who said it. Let's move into my underdog parlay. Then we'll talk about Buffalo versus Miami. And I'm going to put 3 legs up here as a reminder. If you sign up for Underdog Fantasy, you use code COS, you get a 100% deposit match. Look, we're playing these 3 legs for 6 times our money payout. Saquon, I already talked about him. I don't need to talk about him some more. Justin Jefferson over 7 receptions. If this moves up to 7.5, you could probably pivot to a different guy's reception line. But right now, 7, we're at now, a lot of books are at 7.5 and like plus 110 on the over. But still, I think 6.5 would be very juiced on a lot of books. So we're getting 7, maybe got some push potential in there. But I think they're going to force feed Justin Jefferson. He's the best player on their team. He's going to need to get the rock. Now, my last one, Mark Andrews over in receiving yards. He has a pretty good connection with Tyler Huntley. And if they're going to throw the ball, well, kind of have to go to Mark Andrews. He's probably he is their most reliable option. He also has a good track record against Cincinnati. So if they're throwing the ball, which I anticipate the Bengals having or making the Ravens at least throw the ball a little bit, Mark Andrews is probably that guy. 6 times your payout on Underdog Fantasy, and if you sign up using our code COS, you get that 100% deposit match. Take advantage of that. Let's move into a lean for Dolphins Bills. I honestly hate this game. I didn't even include the lean in the Underdog Fantasy parlay because that's how unconfident I am in this game. I don't have a good read on where this one goes. I think the Bills obviously win. I'm not going out on a limb there, but I do like Tyreek Hill's over in receiving yards. If I was gun in my head, I had to force something into this game. I think Tyreek Hill gets the ball a lot, and I think his receptions line is 5.5. And yes, Skylar Thompson, he stinks. Sorry, Dolphins fans. He's not been very good, but at the end of the day, you paid a lot of money to Tyreek Hill. Your offense has kind of struggled recently. You got to find a way to get the ball to Tyreek Hill. I'm not staking my reputation on, Tyreek Hill's over in receiving yards, but I think he's got a chance. Skylar Thompson can't be any worse than he really has been. I think they'll find some bubble screens, probably find some ways. And we know Tyreek Hill can take a bubble screen. Boom, he's gone. 75 yards, hit this over in one play. I think the Dolphins kind of open up the playbook, say, hey, we're going to throw some trick plays out there. We're going to try to find ways to get Tyreek Hill the ball. And look, 61.5, very low line for someone like Tyreek Hill who can hit the over in one play. It's just a lean. I'm not going to track it towards my record. I won't have any money on it, but just a thought. So my 2 official plays, we're going with the Ravens plus 8.5. It's Saquon's over in rushing yards plus receiving yards. And then, of course, we'll ride with this Underdog parlay. I'll throw it back up on the screen. Remember, sign up for Underdog, the sponsor of the video, using our code COS or the link down below. You get a 100% deposit match. It's available to play in a lot of different U.S. states. So take advantage of that. All other sportsbook sign-up bonuses down below in the description. I'm Austin. I'll see you guys back in for Monday Night Football, as well as all of our other videos that we're uploading every single day. See you guys there. Peace out.